Now, endpoint security is going to be a couple of softwares installed on endpoints, which is going to be responsible for automatically detecting, which in general also automatically responds to detected attacks. So those endpoints can be the usual desktops, laptops, or can be smartphones, tablets, as those are gaining more and more, let's say, those are gaining more and more popularity within most organizations nowadays. You have to be able to also take care of those new endpoints in the network, which are the smartphones and tablets. Now, traditional endpoint security software offers point-in-time detection and protection. Like, for example, you're gonna have a firewall configured or deployed at the endpoint level. Like on Windows, you have a built-in firewall, which what that firewall does is going to allow or disallow traffic destined to the endpoint based on its configured rules. It's that simple. It's a built-in stateful firewall that Windows has. Also, the Mac operating system has a built-in firewall, and likewise, an optional, you can also, let's say, configure and deploy your own firewall and disable the system built-in ones. Either way, whatever option you choose, it's going to be in the end a stateful firewall, which we're going to speak about in greater detail. But that stateful firewall is going to be able to detect an attack at a specific point in time. So, like, as the packet reaches the endpoint it's either going to let the packet in or not. The antivirus is going to do the same thing, and the anti-spyware the same thing. So both of them, now the antivirus and anti-spyware are going to, as long as the packet was accepted by the system firewall, then those two engines are going to inspect the packet's payload to detect if there is any malicious code, any virus, or any spyware within that packet. And if there is, then they're going to take action instantly. But it's a point-in-time detection and action. So as the packet is being received by the endpoint, the firewall lets or either allows the packet or drops it. It's a point-in-time detection, point-in-time action. Likewise, the antivirus and anti-spyware software, they're gonna inspect the packet and either detect it's a problem, it's a malware, it's a malicious code in the packet, and then drop the packet or quarantine the packet. Or if the packet looks to be clean, then what they're gonna do, they're gonna allow the packet to be received by the operating system, and the operating system can actually process the packet and do whatever he wants with the packet. But with current attacks, we need new software to continuously monitor endpoint behavior. Like as I was saying yesterday, like an attack nowadays, a malicious code can be in the form of anything, like a JPEG, a PDF, or whatever. So a regular PDF file or Word file or a picture file is going to have an attached malicious code. And the problem with the point-in-time detection engines and tools is that nowadays what the attackers are doing are attaching that malicious code to the, let's say, to the picture, and then as the endpoint receives that picture, and then as the antivirus and anti-spyware engines are going to inspect that packet, it looks legitimate. Because what happens in general, as the user opens the picture up, clicks on the picture, then the code, the malicious code, is going to be executed at that point in time, and then the anti-spyware or antivirus software can catch that and see what exactly happened. It's going to see that actually the picture had a built-in code behind the scenes which tried to do some damage on the endpoint. So the antivirus and anti-spyware engines are going to be able to detect that attack, of course, as long as they have a signature for the attack to begin with. But the problem nowadays is that what happens is the attacks are smarter and more intelligent. That's why they are called APTs. That the attacker is going to configure that malicious code which is attached to a picture to be silent for a couple of weeks or a couple of hours. So what happens is the user receives the picture, clicks on it, double clicks on the picture opens up, and then at that point nothing happens. So the anti-spyware and antivirus engine, they don't detect any kind of, let's say, suspicious activity as a result of the user executing the file. But what happens is like couple of hours or couple of days or weeks later, then that file starts actually by itself doing damage on the endpoint, which at that point classic antivirus and anti-spyware engines are blind, because it's the executable launches by itself after a specific period of time, so it cannot be detected by the anti-spyware and antivirus engines at that point. It's very difficult to detect that. So for that reason, we speak about Cisco's client on the endpoint, which is called the Advanced Malware Protection, which not only continuously monitor the, let's say, the behavior of specific files, executables, and processes on the system, but also constantly monitors and learns the end system behavior to be able to identify abnormal behavior when that happens.